Hello, and welcome to the DM's Journal. My name is IlluminAnnie, and I feel like a real DM. So, I ran another campaign last night. It is the second campaign that I am running, but I'm keeping it in my world, just on a different continent. So we'll see if my two D&D groups ever converge. That's going to be interesting, especially because they're basically made up of the same people. Because the deal is, one of my players is going to have regular conflicts, so on the days where they cannot be there, the other members of the group are going to come play in this alternate campaign. And the idea for this campaign is that it's going to be less of like a campaign with an overarching story and more of a series of one-shots where I just sort of make and run a complete little adventure so we can all get our fix of D&D. The prep was super easy. I did it Thanksgiving themed because we had it on the day after Thanksgiving was the day we had the campaign. So the idea was they are part of this adventuring guild run by the salty old pirate named Egyptus Hawkins. So they call him Jim for short because I love Treasure Island. And old Jim has a wife named Tabitha. Old Jim is a blue dragonborn, and Tabitha is a green dragonborn. The Hebodian Trawlers is the name of this group. The Hebo River is a main river, so they are the Hebodian Trawlers, because I thought it was a cool sounding name. The prep for this was very bare bones. I'm getting better at it. It only took me about an hour and a half to 2 hours to prep this game, and it was a good solid 4-hour game. I think we ran 4 hours and 20 minutes, so we were 20 minutes over the 4-hour mark that I was running for, which was great. And it's really nice that it only took me about an hour, and I actually didn't have to look through that many books. I didn't have to use that many tables. I used a random monster generator. It was super easy. Their adventuring guild is having a fall festival, so I started with making some games. I made a Bobbing for Apples game, only it was apple or I. So it was a perception check. The characters had to roll a perception check, and if they got a 10 or 10 to 20, then they got an apple, and if they got a 10 or below, they got an eye. So that was one game. Then I had a Dunk the Boss game where you could make an athletics or a dexterity check to try and dunk old Jim for like charity, and it was donate, you have the charity game at the fall festival. And then I had a ring toss, and I had face painting, and then I had a food eating competition, because I figure, it's the first meeting. I want it to be fun, and I want there to be some role play and chances to roll dice in a fun, safe environment, because everybody's getting to know each other. So after they had milled about for about 15 minutes with the games, trying to get people to play, doing some RP and stuff like that, I decided it was time for the food competition to start. And that's 15 minutes, like not in-game, but like in playtime. We fooled around with that stuff for, 10 to 15 minutes. Then the food eating competition started. So the way I set up the food competition was very simple. It was just a simple constitution check. The DC raised each time. It was 3 successive rows. They were steaming piles of goat I had. You just munched on it. Nobody won, so I had an NPC win. I made it a little gnome because I thought that was funny. After the food eating competition came the hunt, which was the main event. The way that the fall festival usually works is that you pregame by eating regular meats, and then you go out and you have a hunting competition. So groups of 6 people go out. They have 2 different types of quarry that they have to kill and drag them back for the feast, and whoever gets there first wins the prize. I had a list of 8 encounters from medium to hard. And I just used a random encounter. I used the Donjon random encounter for the appropriate party level and environment. And I was like, yeah, I like this one, and I sort of shuffled them around. I did it about 3 different times in 2 different environments just to have some cool bits, and then I chose the ones which seemed most interesting to me. And so they rolled 2d8s, I got the numbers, I gave them the encounters. It was a wild boar. They had to get 6 wild boar, and then 3 ankylosauruses. And off they went to go fight the wild boar, and bam, we were into our first encounter. It was about an hour in. I felt like I had engineered a good paced story. So I was super proud of that. It was a medium encounter. I didn't want to push them. Lots of people got to do lots of cool things. But after they'd killed their final quarry, they were supposed to set off the flare and wait for the fairgoers to arrive. But as they were taking their short rest, the fairgoers never arrived. The people didn't come to get their quarry and log their win and then move on, so they could get their second quarry. And I was like, oh, this is bad. Something's up. And everyone was like, haha, I must go investigate. Because every single person in this party is a gamer, which is nice because they sort of understand how games are supposed to be played. So somebody goes, ooh, you're doing a thing, and something goes wrong, then you run right to the problem. It's nice when you have party members who are all willing to suspend their disbelief and engage in the playing of the game. Because it's a two-way street. It's not just me, the DM, giving you a story. Like, I'm doing part of the work, but the players also they have jobs to do as well. And I feel like part of the job of the player is to, not be like, oh, well, it wouldn't happen in, like, reality. This isn't reality. This is a fantasy world where you can shoot lightning from your fingertips, and moreover, this is a story, and certain things have to happen in a story if a story is going to happen. They could have just sat there for hours and milled about, and then in that case, another adventuring party would have come along. So I am happy that my players are moving along with me and working with me in the stories. Is the crux of that little mind rabbit trail that I just followed. Anyhoozle, where was I in the story? Oh yes, they ran towards the trouble. They ran back to the fair, and they found the fair destroyed and deserted. Buildings were knocked over. So after some searching, they found Tabitha and a group of people who tell them that, oh, 3 horrible creatures came and attacked the village and carried people away in bags. Oh no, you have to go rescue them. So everybody was like, oh, it's time to go rescue. We're adventurers. This is what we do. Tra-la-la-la-la. Off they went to find the hags. I did a skill challenge. We had a ranger in the group, so I had him range. He had to make 3 survival checks. He passed all of them with flying colors. I had a random encounter table for if they failed the survival checks, but they never did, so we went right on to the final fight. Because I figure with a group of 7 people, 3 fights is pushing it, and one of them has to be like super fast and easy, because 7 people that's a long battle. By the time we hit this final battle, we had about an hour and a half left of game time, and I figured that would be enough for the final battle. So it was a hag coven is what I threw at them, which is kind of challenging. They're only level 5, but again, there were 6 of them, and we had a lot of heavy hitters. So lots of strikers. We have a monk, a barbarian, and a fighter. We have a druid and a ranger and a sorcerer. So it started with 2 night hags holding the hag eye as sentries, and then a burr hag in the cave getting ready to cook the people. Then the players started to get going, and they started to hurt that burr hag real bad. They killed that burr hag in about 3 or 4, not even, like 2 rounds or something. That main heavy, the hag that I thought was going to be the heavy hitter, was down and out. And I was like, okay, this is going way too fast. I need to put some more in. So when my barbarian rushed in after the burr hag, I added 3 green hags. I added another sort of hag coven and made it a super coven. But even though I added 3 more hags, I didn't want to keep their main health at 82, so I made their health 52 instead, because I wanted to make it hard but not impossible, and I thought that 82 health would just be a little bit too much. And I was right. It went perfectly. We were only 20 minutes over 4 hours, and it was a good fight. I downed one person. I knocked someone unconscious. I bloodied a few people. Everybody was like pulling out their major spells. Everybody got to do something cool. Not only was the gameplay great, but I think I figured out how to take good notes. In my notebook, this is my my jankety notebook that I'm using. I devoted like a page to each section. So I had 3 sections: the Harvest Festival, the Hunt, and the Fair has been destroyed. And then I wrote all the information that I needed on each page. And when the fights started, because I'm doing Theater of the Mind. We're just doing video chat over Discord. So there's no minis, there's no map. I'm not messing with Roll20. It's just a bunch of people talking. So one of the things I noticed, though, in the last time I ran was that it was hard for me personally to gauge where everybody was going. I'm assuming this is what football, when they show the football things with the arrows and squiggles, I just tried to mimic that a little bit, and I wrote down with all my chicken scratch what was going on. It probably makes no sense to you, but that was the first one with the great boars. And then this is the second one with the hags. And there was a lot more area of effects on this one. You can see Hunger of Hadar is there and Entangle. And it was a little bit more complicated. But my system with arrows and moving it around worked really well. I was able to give much more specific advantages and disadvantages to the players. I was able to give them flanking advantages more often. I was able to tell them, oh yeah, I'm trying to get out of the habit of using actual like 30, 80 feet and stuff like that, and just going like half your movement or a third of your movement. Because again, as you saw, the notebook papers, it's not precise. I'm playing things a little bit loose. And that's okay. I don't need it to be precise. I want it to be fun. And it has to be fun to play and fun to run. I have to enjoy running it. And I do. I really enjoyed running the combat. 'Cause it was a 6 PC combat plus all of the NPCs, and in the final fight all those hags were all spellcasters, so I had a lot to keep track of. But if I were playing in that game, I don't know if I would like it quite as much, but because I was running it, and I was very much engaged in each turn, the time just flew by, and I was more engaged in D&D than honestly I think I have ever been before. I was just, it was so much fun. I've never liked DMing or D&D before as much as I have now, and it's super exciting. I don't know I do know what magic I unlocked. I just sort of, I found my rhythm and I found my stride, and things are going super well. Everybody had a fun time. We have, everybody clicked really well. That's the other thing. My social circle has expanded exponentially, even though everything that I'm doing is still online. I went from having about 1 person that I hang out regularly with and I had that for about 3 years. That was just 1 person that I was like, oh, I'll go to you and then tag along as you do your society thing, to all of a sudden having 7, 8 people of my peers too, which is weird because I generally don't hang out with my peers, but all of a sudden, bam, I have a friend circle. It's really cool. I feel like I haven't had that since college, and I didn't realize how much I missed it until I started doing it again, and I was like, oh man, it's actually fun to have conversations with people who share the same interests as you. So yay, that's exciting. Here's the dealio, though, as we reach the end of this episode. I cannot play next week. So there will be no Dungeons & Dragons and no DM's Journal, I suppose, because there's no gaming happening. But we will see if I can't get a video uploaded. I think I will try to. I have an idea, and I'm going to try to get it uploaded, because it would be really cool if I could upload videos every Saturday. That would be a cool thing if I could make that work. And I have been doing that. So anyway, I have to get this thing edited and uploaded because it's Saturday. So love you all. Bye!